Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, the biggest and actually the only Brooklyn Nets fan I know, my brother Alex. Alex, how you doing?
Well, I may be the only one, but I think by we're going to have, the bandwagon's going to fill up some.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. It'll fill up.
As you can see by our attire today, we're going to talk a little basketball. We're going to do our 2019 NBA preview, and I tell you what, I'm more excited for this NBA season than I've been excited for a basketball season in a long time. I've never been a big fan of the regular season, but this year I am. I'm a big fan. I can't wait to see how it all turns out. We have some soap opera situations, and we have a lot of movement in players and teams and whatnot. It's going to be super interesting. And I know you are not a big fan of just things going status quow.
Yes, definitely.
Right? So you must be super excited for this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot. I said last season was going to be, the best season we've had in a while. And
it wasn't.
And it really wasn't. No, it wasn't at all. It was kind of disappointing. And I think this season, with obviously all the player movements, and kind of the balance of the NBA now, it feels like it's more. It looks like it's more balanced, right?
Well, it's more balanced within each conference, but I think the conferences are still out of balance. Like I think the West is a lot better than the East.
Yeah, you could say that.
The East still feels like the little brother to the West.
Well, yeah.
The crazy thing, the funny thing is we thought last season was going to be interesting because of LeBron going to LA, but it didn't really pan out. That team never really took off, and
now it took off.
And now
some players aren't even there anymore.
Yeah, now it's really taking off, and it's very interesting. Let's get right into it, man. Let's start breaking it down. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. The conference champions last year, the Toronto Raptors, they went on to win the NBA championship. Speaking of last season, even the finals were kind of a disappointment with the injuries to Durant and Klay Thompson. I feel like we got kind of shortchanged. So all of the excitement that we had built up for the season and for the playoffs and eventually the finals, it really kind of withered away. During the season, just wasn't that exciting. The playoffs were okay, and then the finals kind of a dud. Not to rain on Toronto's parade because, Kawhi Leonard had a fantastic playoff run.
Definitely evened it out, I think, the matchups.
Yeah.
Because I think if Klay and Durant play, if they're 100% healthy, even 90% healthy, you got to think that they win, right? So
are you going to put an asterisk by the Toronto championship?
No, not at all. No.
You're not an asterisk
guy?
No.
Only in baseball. When you have probably the best two-way player in the league that we've seen in a while, Kawhi Leonard, he won them that championship.
Yeah, he sure did.
Especially when, and like we talked about last year, if the Raptors don't win a championship last year, the trade with the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard is a failure. They obviously made the trade to win the championship that year. So now we can say that the Raptors won the trade. Now they won the trade. They won the championship. They won the trade.
Well, I don't know. I don't look at trades as winning or losing. Either it was a good trade or it wasn't, and obviously it was. It got him an NBA title.
Right, but you make a trade to better the team and to give yourself a chance to win.
So they made a good trade. They didn't necessarily win the trade. What if the Spurs with DeMar DeRozan win the next two championships?
Then they win the trade. But do you think that's going to happen? I mean, you can't compare DeMar and Kawhi Leonard. Like DeMar DeRozan DeRozan is not, that he's not even a two-way player. He's on nowhere near the level of Kawhi Leonard. So
right, but if he ends up being the piece that really elevates San Antonio, well, they win 2 championships. Do they win the trade and Toronto loses the trade? That's why I say I don't look at it as winning and losing.
If they win 2, yeah. I mean, that scenario. That remains to be seen. But what we do know now is the
My problem is I would not call it winning the trade. I would say it was a good trade. It was a great trade for Toronto. I wouldn't call it winning because each team is on their own path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Let's talk about the East. I'm gonna go ahead and go out. I'm gonna make my first bold prediction here.
Whoa! Timeout. Chris Webber-esque.
No.
Timeout.
Straight to a bold prediction.
Do I get timeouts in this preview?
No.
Why? Because Chris Webber didn't have any?
That's right.
You're gonna give me a technical if I call a timeout? What the fuck?
For the people
That's not fair.
For the people that are not watching this on YouTube, I'm wearing a basketball jersey. I'm not a big basketball fan. I don't have very many basketball jerseys. In fact, I have one, and it happens to be an old one. It's a Warriors Chris Webber jersey.
That's a classic. That Warriors jersey. That's a classic jersey. I mean,
yes, it's a classic.
I mean, I think
you're now you've gone the other way. You are completely up to date in your jersey game because you're wearing, for our non-YouTube watchers.
That's right.
You are wearing a Brooklyn Nets Kyrie Irving.
That's right, man. I got a rep, man. Got a rep.
And you think the Earth is flat?
I mean, the ground I walk on is
flat as a board.
Flat as a board.
So my first bold prediction: the Toronto Raptors will not win the Eastern Conference.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm crazy like that.
Why the disrespect, man?
I think they got lucky winning that championship last year.
Oh man!
Look, it's obvious, right? The biggest piece of that championship is no longer with them. They did not replace it with a similarly impressive big piece, so they are not going to win the NBA, the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it's.
I wonder if they'll even make the playoffs.
Yes, I think they'll make the playoffs. It's just that the East is a little more crammed up. I think it's a little, they've kind of fallen back in the pack a little bit.
Yeah. The East feels to me, it feels pretty much like a 2-horse race. I mean, I know that seems kind of crazy to talk about in this year of parity, but
that's another bold statement there.
Yeah, look. The Bucks are pretty darn good. And the thing with the Bucks is, as good as they were last year, they won 60 games last year. I still think they're a team on the rise. I think Giannis is going to get better. I think Bledsoe's really good. I think Middleton's really good. Those guys went through a playoff run, took a bit of a beating towards the end of that run when they got eliminated. And so, I think there's a growth and maturity. So are they going to win more than 60 games? I don't know. I don't know that I'd make that prediction. I think 60 is about the right number. But I do think there's a maturation process that's gone on over the last couple of years where they're going to be a better basketball team. I think they're going to be better prepared for the wars of the playoffs, and maybe they will actually be the team that comes out of the East. What do you think?
I mean, Bledsoe's starting he's injured. And yes, they have Middleton and the Freak, but they've also, they lost a couple shooters on that team. And I'm looking at their depth chart, and I mean, it doesn't, George Hill, Wesley Matthews, Brook Lopez, part of their starting line. I mean, it doesn't scream fear
right.
to me. And, as good as the Freak is, I don't like calling him the Freak. That sounds kind of freaky. We'll call him Giannis.
Giannis. Yeah, you notice I never go to that last.
Yeah. No, stay away from it. I feel teams are gonna be focusing on him, and it's gonna be a lot easier to defend the Bucks. It's gonna be, let's try to do everything we can to stop, if you can, Giannis, and just let everybody else beat you. They're gonna have some issues. They'll be a top 3 team in the East, but I don't see them going very far.
Here's the true test of whether they're going to mature and really come forward. If Giannis can develop an outside shot, the East is in a whole heap of trouble. Because right now, his game is to the basket. If he can develop an outside shot and bring that defense out a little bit, it will open up the game for him, and it will open up the game for his teammates. And if it spaces out the floor for his teammates, look out. Look out. Now, you are right in one thing. They have no depth. And that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem in terms of managing minutes for those guys. How banged up and tired do they get to the playoffs? And it's going to cost them games, I think. So it's a balancing act, I think, for the Bucks to figure out how much do I use my bench and let some games go during the regular season, and how much do I keep my starters out there who are really good and run the risk of burning them out for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a tough balancing act for any coach.
They have his brothers on that team? I didn't know that.
Who?
Giannis.
Oh, yeah. Greek Freak Jr.?
Thanasis Antetokounmpo.
I can't say that. The other team in the East that I really like is the Sixers. The problem with the Sixers is the Sixers are one injured big toe away from being a very mediocre team.
Yeah.
If Joel Embiid can stay healthy, they're going to be a problem. They added Al Horford over the offseason, which I think is a great addition. They're going to give teams fits, but there's 2 problems for Philly. One is Embiid's got to stay healthy. Basically, there's only one problem. Embiid has to be on the floor, right? They're another team with bench issues, and they're another team that when Embiid's not on the floor, they are terrible. And I'm not talking about bench. I'm talking about the entire team is just terrible without him. He is so dynamic on the floor. He creates so many problems for other teams, and he's such a good ball player that when he's not on the floor, the Sixers are in a losing proposition. And so the bench is an issue when he's not on the floor, and you got to make sure he stays healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, they don't have a chance. The interesting piece of the Sixers is what kind of development will we see in Ben Simmons' game?
Yeah. Yeah. I mostly agree with Embiid needs to stay healthy, but I don't believe he needs to be on the floor for them to compete and win some ball games. Obviously, Al Horford, was brought in to move into that center position when he goes out. They got some big men on this team that can fill in. The difference will be Ben Simmons. I expect him to really elevate his game to the point where, we're going to see him be even more aggressive than what he already is. And obviously he's been working on his shot, and that all remains to be seen. It's a lot different when you're putting up a highlight video or in preseason. Let's see now how when Embiid is not available for inside the 2 minutes of the fourth quarter and they need a big shot. Who's gonna take that big shot? Other than maybe Tobias Harris, they don't have Jimmy Butler anymore. Jimmy Butler could have been that guy. What about when they start double teaming Harris and Simmons needs to make that clutch shot? clutch pull up, if they're taking away the lane or whatever, how is that gonna work out for them? But I believe Ben Simmons is that good. I think Ben Simmons is, he's a little bit away from being a LeBron James.
Well, he's a jump shot away. I mean, that's his problem.
Yeah,
he can't shoot.
Yeah, but
he has no outside shot.
Yeah,
and when I say no outside shot, I mean literally no outside shot, and that's how much does that. Eventually, is he going to be great because he's going to develop that outside shot? Yeah. How much is he going to develop it in one off season? I don't expect much, and that's really the problem for the Sixers.
If I was the Sixers and they, their first 15, 20 games are like, they're playing in close games, I would force feed him the ball. Like, go ahead and,
win or lose,
and let me see what you can do in a tough spot, right? When you need 2 buckets or.
That's a good point, and no better way. Well, but then you run the risk of shattering his confidence, and then he never comes back. He never becomes a good shooter.
Well, then then it's all mentally for him, and he's never gonna get over that, and his career is gonna be based off, just hanging around in the basket, put back rebounds, and making flashy plays, and that's not gonna win you.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough situation. Look, there's still going to be a really good team, but those are the questions that it's funny that a team that is as talented as they are, and a team that I believe will be fighting for the top 2 or 3 spots, has so many big glaring questions. I mean, you just wonder what.
What about if things go opposite in Philly? What if, they lost Jimmy Butler, and I think Jimmy Butler was the guy to keep over Harris.
I don't know that I agree.
That's the guy you want taking the last shot. We've seen him do it with the Timberwolves. We've seen him do it with the Bulls. He brings that Philly attitude to the team. And Embiid, they interviewed him, and he kind of let it be known that he misses Butler. Like he feels like they should have kept him. If things go south at any point for the 76ers, do you consider trading one of them, Simmons or Embiid?
I would consider trading Simmons.
Yeah.
I think someone would be foolish enough to give you a king's ransom for him. And I think I would listen. If I was the Sixers, and I'm not talking about right now, I'm not talking about 2 months from now when the season starts off shaky. I'm talking at all times I would listen to Ben Simmons' offers.
Yeah.
Because eventually someone's going to offer you a ridiculous deal.
Yeah.
I mean that's just my opinion. And then the rest of the East.
So those are your top 2 teams?
Those are the top 2 teams. Those are the 2 teams I'm most interested in. I think that those 2 teams will be battling it out. I mean, there are other teams that I think can get in the mix.
Yeah, I mean...
but I still think that there's a drop-off after those 2.
See, I believe differently because I don't think there is a clear cut in the East. I mean, there's not a clear cut in the NBA, period. Really, and in the East, it's just so balanced.
Yeah. So who else do you think is a conversation piece in the East?
I mean, the Nets are gonna be up there.
The Nets are an interesting situation.
You have who else in the East?
Now the Magic. The Magic finished really strong last year.
I mean, Brooklyn will be Brooklyn. The Celtics will be up there.
The Celtics still have a lot of talent on that team, despite losing Kyrie and Al Horford.
Talent doesn't always win,
no, it doesn't.
As proved last year. But I think
it's a good start.
But this year they're gonna. I think they'll play a little more together. and that could be because Kyrie's not there. But there's a lot of question marks on that team. Like Gordon Hayward, he could be a trade piece. Jaylen Brown turned down a 4-year, $80 million contract. He could be a trade piece. Jason Tatum, he could be a trade piece. So you have all these players that can move, that can be moved. I see them coming together this season and playing better. You know, and the addition of Kemba Walker, he doesn't have to, you know, he can kind of take over at times. You know, he did it in Charlotte. They didn't have any choice. He was their superstar.
Right.
But, you know, now Jason Tatum doesn't have to be that guy. He doesn't have to put up 20 shots a game, you know. Jaylen Brown doesn't feel like he has to come in and take over a game. He can just kind of sit back and play his role, whether it's starting or off the bench. And that's the kind of pressure that I think Walker will take off the rest of the guys and Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens won't have that, you know, that dilemma of making a decision, of drawing up plays for a bunch of guys. I think Kemba Walker will take that away from Stevens.
I think the Celtics are a good team in that what I call kind of the second tier of the East, and I've got damn near everybody in that second tier. Like I said, in my opinion, I think the Bucks and the Sixers are tier 1, and then if you look at kind of a tier 2, I've got a whole bunch of teams in there, and probably the best one of the bunch in there is the Celtics because of all the talent. I still think Brad Stevens is a great coach, and I think that with Kyrie gone, I think he can do what he wants to do, and I think this team will gel under him. Remember, he took that team pretty far without Kyrie the year before.
Right.
And when Kyrie came back last year, it just kind of didn't mesh. And we said this all year last year where we were waiting for the Celtics to really kind of come together and really take over. And it never happened. And I think it was just a not a good relationship between Brad Stevens and Kyrie Irving. He's gone. Brad Stevens can go back to coaching this team kind of in peace, so to speak. And they do have a lot of talent with Brown, Tatum, Kemba Walker. You know, they have a deep bench. I think they're going to be pretty darn good as well in that Eastern Conference mix, just a step below, in my opinion, the Sixers and the Bucks. The other team I really like is the Orlando Magic. You know, they kind of flew under the radar last year, and certainly, you know, they actually won the Southeast Division, but they're only 42-40, so it's, you know, barely 500. But they're a young team, and they finished really strong last year. You know, they've got DJ Augustin, who is a stellar point guard. You know, they've got some pieces to work with. Defensively, they're very good. I think that they will take a step forward this year. I think kind of the evening out of talent in the East will help them, because then they can kind of move up a little bit just by being there, so to speak.
I'm looking forward to seeing Markelle Fultz. See how he's turned around his not only his game but his mentality, and, you know, issues that he had playing or getting prepared for a game. I mean, injuries, right?
Yeah.
So I think that would be interesting. And yeah, I mean, they have a team that could potentially, you know, compete, maybe do a little better than they did last year. But, you know, I don't know what their expectations are, if it's to win a championship or just to make it to the second round. But I mean, it's going to be tough coming out of the first round for them, and, you know. Well,
you know, making it to the second round would be a step forward for them.
Yeah.
Which is good. You know, you want to see that progression. Certainly more than 42 wins. You don't want to have to wait until the very last 2 or 3 games of the season to make the playoffs like they did last year. I expect them to do better. I expect them to be closer to that 50-win mark. I don't know that they'll quite get there, but 48 wins, I can see that. And 48 wins in the East, they'll put you probably 4 seed, which gives you home court. It gives you a good opportunity to win that first round matchup, and then roll the dice in the second round.
Yeah, I mean the way the East is, 42. What they went 42 and 40.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that gave them the 7 seed.
And that gave them the 7 seed. So
because 41 and 41 got you into the playoffs.
Yeah, so with the East being a little more balanced or not as top heavy as it was last year. 42 and 40 might if they go 42 and 40 again, then they might move up to like the 5th seed maybe. I mean, it won't. Yeah, it's not far fetched. I think.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's.
I mean, the Nets went 42 and 40.
Yeah, they were the 6th seed.
So.
Speaking of the Nets, what's your expectation for them? Obviously, they've made the big splash in terms of names.
Right.
But those names comes with some baggage, right? Kyrie Irving. And the other comes with an injury, a serious injury.
Right.
On a guy who's not that young in Kevin Durant. So what are your expectations for them this season?
My expectation this season is to make the Eastern Conference Finals. That's my expectation as a fan.
What's the latest on Kevin Durant? Is he going to be back this year?
No one has said. I think they're leaving it up in the air. What I believe is he's going to play the last month of basketball, I think. Like somewhere around March, I believe he'll come back.
Right.
I mean, especially if they have a chance to move up to that 3 seed or lock up, move into the top 4 where they can get a first round home court advantage. I mean, he'll play,
So you think the addition of Kyrie Irving takes them from a 6 seed to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, I mean, the baggage that he comes with is hitting a Game 7, game-winning 3-point shot. It comes with
extremely talented.
It comes with experience. It comes with him wanting to play at home, which I think players cherish that if they have an opportunity to play in front of the home crowd and for a franchise that he's followed, grew up watching. I mean, I think the culture in Brooklyn within the Nets has changed immensely, and it's they have the perfect coach to keep that balance in the locker room.
Who's their coach again?
Kenny Atkinson.
Oh, that's right.
So, I mean, I could say the Sixers' expectations. I expect them to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I can say the Bucks, the Raptors. I mean, the East to me is so wide open that I couldn't even. There's no tier. It's just literally a Royal Rumble. It's whoever's gonna be able to gel and stay healthy. I just don't see the Bucks to me are not a clear cut. The Raptors are not a clear cut. The 76ers,
the Raptors, yeah, clearly not.
I just don't So yeah, I believe that Brooklyn has the opportunity to take it to the next level.
So realistically, how many teams do you think, or what teams do you think can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? Just give me your list of teams.
I think the Celtics can make it. I think the 76ers can make it. I think the
Nets,
the Bucks.
You already said the Bucks. 4.
Yeah, it's about 5 teams.
What 5th team?
Bucks, Sixers, Celtics, Nets. Is that 4?
Bucks, Sixers, Celtics, Nets.
Oh, okay.
4. Okay.
That's it.
All right. Because the way you were talking, it made it sound like you thought there would be like 8 teams that had a shot.
Well, no. I mean, let's.
I just wanted to clarify because I tend to agree with you. I think those 4 teams could make it. But like I said, I just wanted to clarify because when you first were talking about that, you made it sound like 8 teams could make it. which I was like, whoa.
Yeah, no, the Magic, no, no. I mean, but it's. I don't think it's a bold prediction to say that either. You know, like if I were to say the Bucks are gonna make the Eastern Conference, that's.
Yeah, that's not bold.
I mean, the net. I just don't feel like it's it's
I
far-fetched.
think the Nets will be a very interesting show. Like, to me, the Nets this year are kind of like the Lakers last year. I think they are the soap opera that everyone will want to watch.
Yes, wants. That's what everybody wants, and I just don't think they're gonna get it. I don't think that's what I hate saying the word think. I say the word think way too much. I feel that that's not how they're being built. These players chose to come to Brooklyn over the Knicks. I think that says a lot for the franchise of the Nets. Let's not forget the Nets traded away all of their assets for 3 old players: Jason Terry, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, so that they can win right then and there. And what they've done from that point on is completely rebuild this franchise, from coaching to now everyone's saying Sean Marks is going to be the GM of the year, the executive of the year. I mean, players want to play here, and if they come here just wanting to get a paycheck, then they're here for the wrong reasons. And I don't think that they're there for that. They're there to to win a championship.
It is incredible that they mortgaged everything for those 3 guys.
Yeah.
And what the turnaround that they've done in however long it's taken them, 4 years, 5 years, is incredible. It's incredible that they're at this point, because there are other franchises that do that kind of stuff, and you don't hear from them for 10 years. It takes them forever to work their way out of that. And the Nets have done an incredible job of working their way out of that hole.
You know, Karis LeVert and Durant are like really tight, and I think that's huge for LeVert. And learning from Kevin Durant, LeVert I feel can be very close to what D'Angelo Russell was to the Nets last year. He's got the type of build that could take over a game. Well, of course, with Kyrie, it's going to be maybe a little difficult to do, but
see, that's where I worry.
Yeah, everybody's worried about Kyrie and what he's going to how it's all going to translate on the court.
They've got some young impressionable guys, that. Yeah, I guess everyone's worried about Kyrie.
Oh yeah, listen. The media is gonna love it with the Nets, and they're gonna poke at it. They're gonna want to see some fireworks, and yeah. I feel that the Nets, not Kyrie, the Nets are not gonna allow it.
I hope not. We've talked about 5 or 6 teams. We got a couple more that gotta get in the mix. Who else is gonna be in the mix?
I mean, I like the Pistons team, man. I like that Drummond and Blake Griffin will be, this will be their second season together.
Yep.
Don't overlook the addition of Derrick Rose. He's had a pretty good preseason, and he looks to be healthy. Like he's got a quick first step again. I'm not saying he's going to be like MVP Rose from 2001 or 2008 or whatever, but he's looking all right.
He's looking good, and if he can stay healthy, I think he's a big addition to that team. That is actually one of the teams that I was going to mention as kind of rounding out the playoff picture. Them, obviously, the Miami Heat improve.
Oh yeah,
with the addition of Jimmy Butler, and I think Eric Spoelstra is a really good coach. The problem there is always, Jimmy Butler is, a bit of a head case, and you got to wonder how that will work. But
they don't have a bad team. That kid Tyler Hero, everyone's talking about him. He's gonna win Rookie of the Year. So, and he's looked pretty good in preseason. They actually don't have a bad team.
I think they'll be in the mix.
Yeah,
I think they'll be there
they very well
to the
could.
bitter end. And then you've got
What about the Pacers? Pacers are like that wild card team.
yeah, and
They're tough.
Oladipo's back, right?
Yes.
And healthy.
Yeah, he should start the
So,
season, right?
Yeah, look, they were in the thick of the playoff talk last year until Oladipo went down.
He's actually, I'm guessing he's starting on the. He's still injured.
Oh, he's still injured?
Yeah.
Okay, they're
so.
toast.
Yeah, that can't be good, right?
That can't be good.
He's
It's a decent team, but without him, I don't see how they make it.
Oladipo has been cleared to do 5-on-5 half-court work with the team. Won't play on back-to-back days. This is 24 hours ago, so he's not going to be ready for the start.
If you're cleared to do 5-on-5 half court work, isn't that pretty much cleared?
Yeah, but it's half-court. It's not full court. By the way, who the hell could 5-on-5 half court? I mean, I grew up playing 3-on-3, 2-on-2 half court, 5-on-5.
Well, but think about it. If it's not in a regular game, if it's not a fast break, it's 5-on-5 half court.
Yeah, well, he needs to play on the other side too. He needs to play the full court of basketball. Yeah, well, that's not good for them if they
kind of like lacrosse, where they just run the half court and then get off, and someone else comes on to play.
Yeah,
maybe they could do that with Oladipo. Have substitutions on the fly.
Maybe
like hockey. That would be so cool if they did that in basketball.
That would. Be
but it would be a nightmare for the referees.
Oh yeah,
6 men on the court. Maybe Oladipo can,
well, the
start the conversation.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Packers got away with 13 men on the field this past week, so
Is that 2 penalties or 1?
No, it's just 1.
It's just 5 yards. It's not 10 yards.
Right.
5 yards for every extra player.
God. Yeah, the Pacers. They're going to be struggling to get into the playoffs.
If he's not playing, I mean,
you know what team?
It's kind of scary without him.
You know what team's going to sneak in there is going to be the Bulls. I can't remember the coach's name, but
the Bulls are decent.
But the Bulls, there was a lot of talk last year when this new coach came in, and he wanted to run them to the ground, and the players were being rebels. They didn't want to practice. They didn't want to practice after back-to-back days or whatever the case was. The coach is still here. The players are still here. Zach LaVine was great last year for them. They don't have a lot of stars, but they got a lot of pieces that could fit in well. And I believe they will, because the franchise and their star player, Zach LaVine, didn't ask for a trade. I think he's bought into what the coach is trying to, inject into this team. And once you got your star player buying in, then, LaVine looks the type to bring everybody together, So the Bulls will sneak in there somehow.
I'm going to go ahead and respectfully disagree. I think the Bulls are a mess waiting to happen. When you have players that are refusing to practice, it's only a matter of time before that shit blows up completely. Zach LaVine buying in or not. I don't have high expectations for the Bulls because of that situation. I just don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Call me a pessimist, but what else do we have in the East? You got Washington, Atlanta, the Cavs, the Knicks.
What do the Cavs do with Kevin Love? Think they trade him?
What are they going to get for him? I mean, I don't think anyone's, unlike Ben Simmons, like we talked about earlier. I don't think anyone's beating down the door to get Kevin Love.
But Kevin Love could be one of those players that he's now healthy. He had a full year to recover. He could make himself valuable to the Cavs and to other teams interested. I mean, let's say Danny Green goes out for the Lakers, and LeBron comes calling the Cavs, and he needs that spot-up shooter. and Kevin Love is proven to be healthy and playing well, he could be, the
Yeah.
Cavs could, get some value back for him.
God knows the Cavs aren't going to do much else this year. So that's not a.
Colin Sexton is he can be a pretty good player. I mean, they got some pieces.
Yeah, they got some decent players, but they're still, in my opinion, they're still the bottom feeders of the league.
Yeah.
Of the East, along with the Knicks.
MVP of the Eastern Conference.
Giannis.
Yeah.
Giannis or Embiid. I mean, I think those two will dominate the headlines in terms of filling up stat sheets and highlight
Embiid
reel.
owns Giannis. It's incredible. You can't beat him. He goes for 40 every night or every time they play, but you just can't win.
All right, let's move on over to the West. I'm going to let you talk about the West because with all the moving pieces in the West, I'm confused as fuck. Like, I will make one bold prediction. Steph Curry is going to go off in the beginning of the season. I don't think he's going to have a choice, and I think he is going to blow up.
Yeah, I mean...
Because I think over the past couple of years with Durant there and the evolution of Klay Thompson, I think he's kind of held back a little bit. I think he's kind of said, okay, I'm going to try to be more of a point guard and less of a scoring threat. Less of a, I'm gonna make sure everyone gets involved. And now I don't think he really has a choice. And I think he's gonna put up 40 a night.
It's hard for me to agree with that because now you don't have the luxury of having Klay Thompson. You don't have the luxury of Kevin Durant. You have a newcomer in D'Angelo Russell who is good, I think, but still has to adjust. And so teams will,
lock in on him.
Lock in on Curry, and Curry has a tendency of missing a few games here and there with ankle injuries and knee injuries, and he's played 4 or 5 straight finals. It's wear and tear. It's gonna be the Warriors are gonna have a long season. Long season, as in we're gonna find them struggling at times. Losing Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson is, you're losing, you're losing half of your stars right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge, man. And the role players, they don't, they're just that.
I will remind you of this. They won a championship when it was Curry, Thompson, and Draymond Green.
Right.
And that wasn't the best Klay Thompson. Which
Right.
is probably the Klay Thompson we're going to get when he comes back in the middle of the season. So I think the Warriors are going to be just fine. I think the Warriors are going to be pretty darn good. By the time we get to the playoffs, I think the Warriors are going to be a problem. I think teams will, if Klay Thompson, huh?
Nothing.
What?
I was making the face for the people to see.
Oh, okay. I think by the time we get to the final playoff run, if Klay Thompson is back and playing well, I think teams will be trying to jockey their way out of playing them in the first round.
Wow. That's bold.
Yeah.
In the East, maybe. In the West this season, they won't have home field advantage if they make the playoffs.
I think they're gonna make the playoffs. And I'm telling you, if Klay Thompson comes back and he plays like he's played in the past, if he doesn't show any ill effects from the knee injury, which obviously that's a big if, I think teams will be like, oh shit, we don't want to play them in the first round. I think they'll be 5, 6, 7, right around there. And I think those teams at 1, 2, 3, 4, they'll be like, maybe we should lose a game here and there so that we don't have to play the Warriors in the first round.
Yeah.
Because remember, those 3 guys won an NBA championship. So
Yeah.
it can be done. And Kerr, in my opinion, is a genius.
That's a vulnerable team this year, man. That's a vulnerable team.
Absolutely. In the first half of the season, absolutely a vulnerable team.
In the loaded Western Conference, it's gonna be tough. You got a lot of teams that have duos, man. Like the Clippers with Paul George and Kawhi. You got the Nuggets who are still good. The Nuggets had probably the quietest offseason. They feel that the team that they had last year could compete again this year, and I believe they can.
Oh, absolutely. And they're going to grow up a little bit too, right? They will have learned from their experiences last year. As good as they were during the regular season, remember, they were taken to 7 games by a not great San Antonio team, and they ended up losing in 7 games to Portland. They hopefully learned some lessons from their playoff run last year and can be even better this year. I think in a way they're going to be like the Bucks are in the East, where they may not win more games than they did last year. Last year they won 54 games. They may not win more games, but they're going to be more mature and I think more prepared for a playoff run.
Yeah. Who else? The Rockets. Rockets are going to have issues, man. That team is getting slimmer by the day. Gerald Green now is out for the season. That's a big piece missing off the bench. If Russell Westbrook can't hit a mid-range jumper like he was struggling with last year, the Rockets are gonna struggle, man. I don't know. When they get to the playoffs, they're gonna have problems. And during the regular season, they should be alright. Harden's gonna be Harden. He's gonna shoot jumpers with no feet, right? 1 foot jumpers, whatever he's doing. In the playoffs, that team's not going to be ready. It's not built to win. The Lakers will beat that team in the playoffs.
I think the Rockets are going to be great.
Yeah,
I think the Rockets. I think the Rockets are going to be must-watch TV.
I'm sure most people think that.
I love the reunion of Harden and Westbrook. Remember, this is a much different Harden now. This is an even better Harden than what Westbrook played with before. But
can Harden be better than he was last year?
No, but basically you swapped out the Rockets this year are the same team as last year except for one major change. They got rid of Chris Paul and brought in Russell Westbrook. To me, that's a huge plus. To me, Chris Paul was a defensive liability, was, getting up in years, injury prone at this point in his career. Russell Westbrook may not be much of an upgrade defensively, but offensively, I think they're going to be much more efficient, which is going to benefit everybody.
Who's better, Durant or Harden?
Durant or Harden?
Yeah.
Harden. Durant's injured.
Well, yeah, obviously, but if you had to start a franchise with either one of them,
Durant can't even lace him up right now.
Russell Westbrook couldn't win with Durant. I don't know.
You got PJ Tucker and Clint Capella.
Tucker's old, man. As good as he is on defense, but he's old.
Cephalosha.
Yeah.
From a depth perspective, they're okay, and so that makes me think the Rockets are going to be just fine. Yeah. I think the Rockets will do well this year.
Yeah, they'll probably do well in the regular season.
Who else you like out west?
Everybody, man. I like everybody. I like the Kings.
To win the West?
Well, you didn't ask me to win the West.
Let's see. Which games will have more celebrities? The Clippers games or the Lakers games?
No, the Lakers games.
The Lakers games still. They got LeBron. What do we expect from the Lakers this year? 37-45 last year. LeBron was hurt for a significant portion of the season, and obviously they've added Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
What do we expect? What is your expectation for them this year?
I expect them to be a top 3 seed team. LeBron is going to be LeBron. That extra time off,
probably did him some good.
Helps him a little bit. Having a big man. When I think of this team right now, I think of the Lakers when they three-peated. I think of Kobe Bryant and Shaq. Like, that's how dominant Anthony Davis can be. He can run the floor. And then you have LeBron James, who can play every damn position. You know, they can be that type of team if they can get everybody else to, you know, chip in. Dwight Howard's going to be like comeback player of the year. He's going to have a better year.
Dwight Howard's not going to make it through half the season.
Dwight Howard is going to surprise the shoes off of you this year. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Comeback player of the year. Nominee.
I'm willing to bet that he doesn't make it through the whole season.
You don't think so?
No. I think they will ship him off at some point.
Okay, hold on. How many Antetokounmpos are there? The Lakers have one too.
Is he a relative?
Does Giannis have like 10 siblings or what?
I guess so. Look, and let's not overlook the addition of Danny Green. I think that's a big addition for them. That's going to help the team out a lot. My concern with them is the bench, because you've got Rajon Rondo, who is a bench player but doesn't think he's a bench player. You've got Dwight Howard, Dispel, JaVale McGee, you know, and possibly Anthony Davis as well. You know, he's probably going to back up both of those guys. Davis and McGee will kind of flip-flop every now and then, I'm sure. It's kind of dicey when LeBron's not on the floor or Davis is not on the floor. It'll be very interesting to see how the rotation works with Philly.
Philly?
With the Lakers. The rotation of players is going to be interesting. But I agree with you. I think they're a top 3 team in the West. That's a hell of a dynamic duo with LeBron and Davis. If LeBron is healthy, if LeBron has not started his, you know, retirement slide, which I don't think he has. I think last year was an anomaly. I think he's going to be healthy this year. I think not playing the playoffs probably helps him a little bit. So I expect him to be a superstar again. That's a hell of a dynamic duo to have.
But, you know, wherever LeBron goes, you know, look who their coach is. Frank Vogel. Jason Kidd is the assistant.
That could be a problem.
That could be an issue. There's always a potential for that, you know? And look, man, I trash LeBron James a lot. You know, on the court, he is great. But as far as being a leader, I don't think he's that great. China would agree. You know, I don't... He if things start to go bad, these other players, other than Anthony Davis and Gerald Green, everybody else needs to... Danny Green. Everybody else needs to pack their luggage and prepare to move their stuff, because they will be on the trading block. You know, it happened in Cleveland, and it happened. It already happened last year, right? When the Lakers got rid of Ingram, Ball. I mean, it's gonna happen. There's a potential for that to happen. So it's dicey, man.
That is the one big concern with the Lakers is there are a lot of landmines on the roster. There's a lot of landmines in the building, right? Rajon Rondo's a landmine. Dwight Howard's a landmine. The Vogel, Jason Kidd thing is a landmine. LeBron himself is a bit of a landmine sometimes, I think. As you were saying, you know, where everyone kind of becomes exposed and unsettled.
But don't you see the trend? Like, in Cleveland, everybody was a landmine except for him and Kyrie. And Kyrie wanted out from playing with the best player in the world.
Well, I don't...
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's a little bit different. This one you've got... Like, I don't... Maybe it's just recency bias, but I don't recall there being the number of head cases in Cleveland.
Dude, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, I mean, that's head cases right there.
Shumpert wasn't that bad.
Well, I mean,
J.R. Smith,
he still was.
J.R. Smith wasn't that bad. He just didn't know how many how much time was left or
Yeah,
who was winning.
we all see how that turned out. I mean, yeah, it's, there's a trend here with LeBron, and and you can go as far as looking at the coaching. What coach has he had? Any Hall of Fame coach?
Tyronn Lue is the only one that lasted a while. Well,
Yeah,
and Spoelstra.
He's not a Hall of Fame.
Spoelstra,
Right.
Spoelstra, if you stop and think about it, Spoelstra was there before LeBron.
Right.
He survived LeBron.
Right.
And he's still there.
Right. You know why?
He was a damn good coach.
That slick-haired mafia, Pat Riley.
I wouldn't put up
No,
with it.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
And I think, Spoelstra, follows that regime, and there's a reason LeBron didn't go back to Miami, because he wasn't going to have all that power, and when talking about teams and teams that are associated with LeBron, there's a lot of background story that and maybe it's just the conspiracies in me, I don't know, but there's a lot of going on in the background that people don't see that I can't wait until the day that ESPN comes out with a 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen.
The LeBron Chronicles.
There will be one
I'm
player.
gonna trademark that.
That's right.
That's a great name, the LeBron Chronicles.
No, it's going to be an ESPN 30 for 30.
ESPN 30 for 30, the LeBron Chronicles.
You're going to see a player come out and just air him out, and then ESPN's going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear after he retires all the drama.
So staying at the Staples Center, what do you make of the Clippers? I mean, they made a pretty big splash this offseason, I'd say.
I love the Clippers, man. I love the Clippers.
Keep in mind, Paul George is going to be out for a little bit.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Don't care. Look, Paul George is, first of all, let's start at the top. Kawhi Leonard proved what kind of player he is. He threw a decent Toronto team on his back and ran them through the playoffs to an NBA title. Now, would he have done that if Durant and Thompson were healthy? Maybe not. But Durant and Thompson don't play together anymore with the Warriors, so he didn't have to worry about that. Not only did he not have to answer the question last year, he won't have to answer it this year or any year thereafter. He is as real as it gets. He is as good as it gets. 2, Paul George. Paul George is a fantastic basketball player, but Paul George is not a 1. He's just not. He's Scottie Pippen. He's Scottie Pippen.
So is Kawhi Jordan?
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. When he plays with a 1, he plays as good as a 1, but he can't be a 1.
Has he ever played with a 1? Westbrook?
Westbrook, right? But he had to be the 1 at times, and it didn't work. So I think pairing him up with Kawhi is fantastic. I think it's absolutely great. I have extremely high hopes for the Clippers. I think they're going to be really good. And look, don't overlook Patrick Beverley at the point. I think that's a solid point guard that will let those two guys operate on the wings doing what they do. I like them. I like them a lot. Is Doc Rivers still the coach there?
Oh, yeah.
And they've got Doc Rivers, who I think is a fantastic coach. Probably, in my opinion, probably top 5 coach in the league. Easily. Easily top 5. I don't think I can name 5 guys better than Doc Rivers.
Last season, I said I would love to see Kawhi Leonard and Doc Rivers together.
Well, now
I mean, that's the perfect marriage. Well, he had Pop. That's probably more perfect. But it's great. Clippers are going to be good, Let's see. The thing with basketball this year and the West is you have a lot of new duos.
Right.
That's why I feel that the East is so up in the air as well as the West, because there's no clear cut for me. there's just not. It just remains to be seen how they gel,
how they figure it out.
How they figure it out.
And and the part that's interesting, not just how they figure it out offensively, because I think offensively it's easy to figure it out because you know what your strengths are, you know where you like to play, you know, you move. It's defensively that really becomes a problem. How do you, like for the Clippers, how are you going to stop the duo of LeBron and Anthony Davis?
Well,
Kawhi's a great defender, but he can only defend one.
dude, they got Paul George and Kawhi are probably the top two-way players they're two-way players.
Right, but you can't put Paul George on Anthony Davis. That's not going to work. Right, so there's got to be a rotation, a help. How are we going to deal with pick and rolls and things like that? It is from a defensive perspective. I think it becomes even more interesting on how, just to further your point of how these duos are going to gel. How are these newly configured teams? How are they going to handle it?
Yeah.
Dealing with the other duos that are new to them. It should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I agree, man. Who's got a better record, Clippers or the Lakers? Jack Nicholson or
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal.
I think the Clippers will have a better record.
Yeah.
Not by much, because I think it's going to be a close race at the top.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning towards the Clippers at this point.
Towards the Clippers.
Yeah. Who else do you like out west?
Well, I mean, Denver will be up there. Denver will be up there. I mean, that's pretty much about it. I mean, they didn't do much, man. They have pretty much the same team. The biggest question is going to be Nurkic, how he comes back. Hassan Whiteside is not. That's not a good signing for them. They could have gone somewhere else for center. I hope. Zach Collins should probably start. I watched him in the playoffs a little bit last year. I mean, he looked all right. He's no Nurkic, but I think he'd be a better, piece to that starting lineup.
Nurkic.
Nurkic.
When does he come back?
I'm not sure when he comes back, but
that could be a big boost for them.
Yeah.
Because you're right, Hassan Whiteside doesn't really do it for me either. But,
And, how many times are we going to see McCollum and Lillard, come up short in the playoffs? It just hasn't worked. And that just looks like a marriage forever.
Does that look like DeMar DeRozan and...
Yeah.
And
Kyle
Lowry?
Yeah, it does.
It does, doesn't it?
Which is a shame because
they should have traded for Kawhi Leonard.
I feel right. I mean, McCollum's good. McCollum's a good ball player, and Lillard is too.
They both are.
Lillard to me just sometimes doesn't come through when he's needed, but he's very good. They're both very good, but they just can't find a way to get over that hump, you know. And with a even more loaded West this season, they're gonna see, it's gonna be a little harder for them.
Do you think they make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, they make the playoffs. Yeah.
One team we haven't talked about that I'll be real curious is the Utah Jazz. They did not do much either, but
Conley's a big pickup for them.
That's right.
And Bogdanovich, the dude that they got from the Bucks.
Yeah.
Their starting lineup looks okay. Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, the Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
They could possibly sneak up into the top four. And when I say top four, I mean just like four, not like
one.
No.
I feel like they are a team that will struggle a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah.
Until they figure it out in terms of how they're going to deal with these new duos. But I think as the season goes on, they're going to get better. And they're going to be a problem for other teams in the West. Remember, last year, a lot of teams were looking at them like, well, we don't want to play them in the first round of the playoffs. And I feel like they are... they're going to be the same way this year.
Yeah.
I feel like them and the Warriors, people are going to be like, we'd rather not play them in the first round.
I can see that. I agree with
because
that.
I think they're that kind of team. The Spurs have made the playoffs. Like
21 years in a row.
68,000 years in a row.
Seriously, since '98, I think.
Yeah, they've made the playoffs
Since-
21 years, right? I think the number's 21.
Yeah, it's a crazy number.
Will they make the playoffs this year?
Yes, they will.
They will.
They will.
Somehow they're gonna.
What were they last year?
They were a 7 seed last year, 48-34. Oh, that's better than I thought.
Damn, 48 wins.
That team does not look like a 48-win team.
It's amazing what Pop is.
Pop is probably the best coach in the NBA.
I know Pop doesn't play the games, but I mean whatever he says in the locker room. Now he has everybody buying in.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
He obviously has everybody buying
Well,
in.
he's got a certain Bill Belichick quality to him, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's my way or the highway, and that's fine if you don't like me. I'm gonna focus on winning basketball games. That's all I care about.
Yeah, they'll sneak in there. They might be a 7 seed again, 8 seed.
Well, but if you do that, I mean, right now by our conversation here, it sounds like you have 10 teams in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, everybody makes the playoffs, man. Just let everybody make the playoffs.
Why don't we say?
A big what? 32 bracket.
Well, there's only 30 teams in the NBA.
Oh,
But
there's
you
only
can add
30?
2 more teams.
Oh, okay.
Maybe pick up a couple college teams.
Yeah, the top
Kentucky
2. Yeah,
and-
the top 2, right?
That would be great. That would be awesome. You take the 2
Finalists.
teams in the NCAA finals,
Uh-huh.
right? They play that game the beginning of April.
Right.
So, and one of them wins the national championship. And then you let them go off and practice or whatever until the NBA playoffs start, and they automatically become your 16 seed in the East and the 16 seed in the West.
There you go. Just make one big old bracket.
And they get to play 4 games against.
After playing 6,
Huh?
and after playing 6 in the NCAA.
Yeah, but they'll have a lot of time off.
Right.
But obviously, they would only last 4 games against a professional
Yeah.
1 seed from each conference.
Who else in the West? The Thunder.
Well, the Thunder will suffer.
Yeah, think
Right.
so.
Yeah, I mean, look at me. Can you even pronounce any of the names in the starting lineup other than Chris Paul and Steve Adams? The 2 guys with 2 first names,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the other guys you don't even know. And Chris Paul, God bless him, great guy and all, but he's very clearly on the other side of.
Yeah, the Thunder won't have enough to really make the play. The players they got can, they got potential, man. They're more looking towards the future with all those draft picks that the Clippers gave up for Paul
absolutely.
George.
Yeah.
The Pelicans. What about the Pelicans? That's
Pelicans
a young team looking to run.
Team. It'll be very interesting. It's not. They're not bad.
But that's another team, right? That you don't know how they're gonna play. Look at their starting lineup: Lonzo Ball from the Lakers, Drew Holiday has been there since last year, J.J. Redick from the 76ers, Brandon Ingram, Derek Favors. Even their bench is players that weren't there.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
And what's really interesting with the Pelicans is they have such a young team, but their head coach is, I feel, old school.
Right.
So
very much.
How is that going to, are you going to have the youngsters' attention, or are you just going to, I don't know. It's
what do you expect from Zion Williamson?
Well, he's hurt. So
yeah, but he'll play come start of the season, right?
Yeah, he'll get hurt again. He won't win Rookie of the Year. That's for sure.
But we will see all of his dunks. Every last one of them.
Oh, I'm sure we will. I feel bad for the kid. He's gonna have injury issues, and on top of that, the hype of being Zion, being what we saw in high school, being what we saw in college.
Yeah.
So
he's got a lot of pressure on him, and I don't.
You don't think he'll be able to live up to that?
Not the first season.
No?
I think he's going to struggle the first season.
Yeah.
No different than the guy from Phoenix, right? Last year.
DeAndre
whatever.
Ayton?
Yeah, I mean,
Phoenix is a freaking mess too, man. That team, I don't know what they're doing.
But they've got Ricky Rubio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good team either. You know what's kind of sad is these bottom feeders that just never seem to get out.
No.
Right? Like Atlanta and the Knicks have been bottom feeders for a while, and they can't seem to get out. Phoenix is another one. Been a bottom feeder for a long time. Memphis is another one.
And we may see this for the next couple of years because there's no intriguing free agents coming out.
True.
You know, I don't know if the salary cap's going to get raised. If it is, I don't think it matters because, you know, Phoenix, Mavericks could be another interesting team in the West.
The Mavs would be interesting.
And they could possibly sneak in if, like Joel Embiid, Kristaps Porzingis stays healthy.
Yeah, I mean between Doncic and Porzingis, they've got a nice little duo.
Shit, I kind of like their bench more than their starting lineup. I mean, Brunson can be all right. Tim Hardaway Jr. can, you know,
They got
can
Seth
fill
Curry.
in. You know, they could be a team to.
They'll be fighting for that last spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Sounds good, man.
What else you wanna?
You want to play a little game?
Sure.
All right. 16 teams will make the playoffs.
Right.
You pick 8 teams and I pick 8 teams, and we have to adhere to the rules, right? As we pick them, it's a draft, right?
Right.
As we pick them, they come off the board. Obviously, you can't pick more than 8 Eastern Conference teams.
Are we doing it conference by conference?
No, we're doing it all together.
All together.
But once you've picked all of the once there have been 8 teams picked from the East, then you can't pick any more. You got to pick them from the West, or vice versa.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
All right. I will let you go first. You got to write these down. It's going to be.
So I mean, are we starting with the obvious or?
Well, I mean, if you want to go crazy and let me have all the obvious, then I'm going to win. Because what's going to happen is we're going to get 6 right. Right? It's those last 2 that are going to get really difficult. So,
okay.
Write down Ed and Alex.
Okay. All right.
And then by each team, make sure you put East or West so that we know when we run out of a particular conference. So,
all right.
You go first.
All right. Well, I'll go Clippers. Are we seeding them overall? Or no. Okay.
I'll go Bucks.
Okay. Well, I'll go Bucks.
No. You
can't.
I
can't pick them again.
That's right.
Okay. I will go 76ers.
I will go Nuggets.
I'll go Nets. I mean, this should be easy, the first ones. There's not a thing.
Yeah, it's when you get down towards the bottom.
Yeah.
I will go Lakers.
What we should have done is we should have seeded them. That would have been better. Seeding them conference,
we'll do that
per
afterwards.
conference. I'll go Celtics.
Oh, that's a good one. I will go Rockets. It's starting to get hard now.
Nah. You think so?
Okay. Yeah.
I'll go Blazers.
I'll go Jazz.
Damn it! I was gonna just pick them too.
Well, hold on now.
What happened?
1, 2,
Oh,
3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
Okay, so we're almost there, right? In the West.
Yeah.
All right. No, this is confusing. I think we should have done conference. All right. I'm gonna go Bulls.
Now it's starting to get dicey.
I'll go Bulls.
Whew.
All right, we got 6 in the West. So we got 2 more left in the West and 3 more in the East.
Wow, in the West. I'm going to go Magic.
Magic.
From the East.
All right. We got 2 left in each one.
Ooh, man, now it's hard.
Let's see. Oh, shit. Oh, the Warriors.
Oh, I didn't think you were going to pick them.
Yeah, well.
I thought you were going to stay away from. See, I purposely did not pick
Did
them.
you? So you had a strategy.
Yeah, because I thought the way he talked about the Warriors earlier, he doesn't think they're going to make the playoffs, and I'm going to pick them. I'm going to take them with my last pick.
Good. Now you make an outlandish pick here.
Shoot.
Stump the Schwab. Remember that show? Stump
Pistons.
The Pistons.
Man, I'm not confident at all down there towards the bottom.
So what's this? 7?
So you got to pick someone from the East or someone from the West. We only got one team left.
Oh man. Everybody's not given, and we haven't talked about this team at all, and no one's given this team any chance. Like, they have no chance of making the playoffs. And I feel they're going to be better.
But are they going to be good enough to make the playoffs? I think I know who you're talking about.
In the East, they can absolutely make the playoffs.
Okay.
And it's not the Knicks.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Hawks. Did you know it was them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't go Knicks. So I've got to pick from the West. Clippers, Nuggets, Lakers, Rockets, Jazz, Blazers, and Warriors.
Damn. Well, I mean, I have one.
Yeah, I've got one too. I'm torn between the Spurs and the Kings.
Really? I think the
In the
Kings.
West.
I think the Kings can be all right.
Yeah, no, I do too.
But are they better than the Spurs?
Yeah. The streak stays alive.
The streak stays
Spurs.
alive. Went with the safe pick.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I would have too. That's
going to be interesting. I'll tell you which one you got wrong. Which one
The
you
Bulls.
got. You got 2 wrong that are not going to make the playoffs, and that's the Bulls and the Hawks. I am very worried about
How
the
do you
Pistons.
know I got him wrong?
Because
You can't say now.
you want to make a little wager that
No.
both of them. If one of them makes it,
One of
you
them-
win.
Bulls have a well.
If one of them makes it, you win. I say
I'm
neither
not
one
betting.
makes it. That's
I'm
what I
not
thought.
betting.
You must not be that confident. I'm really worried about the Pistons and the Spurs.
Yeah.
Those 2 are the toughest ones for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
You want to go ahead and predict your NBA Finals?
Oh man. I feel like I've been getting them all half right. I got the Red Sox last year in the World Series half right. I got the Warriors last season half right. Need the Astros to win tonight
To get half right.
to get half right.
I have the Astros winning the World Series, don't I?
I do too.
Okay. So they're going to win.
I mean,
Well, they don't have to win tonight. They can win tomorrow night.
fuck. I don't know if I can pick, man. I don't know if I can pick.
Well, you got to.
I don't have to.
Yes, you do.
I can't go on the record. I don't know. You have yours ready?
Yep.
Okay, well go shoot for it.
No, I'm going to let you go first.
I don't know.
Because if
who
you
to pick.
take it, then I got to adjust. Because I have some.
But
I
you already
some
have
options.
it. I don't
Yeah,
have.
I have some options.
I don't have any options.
I have options.
I don't know. I don't know who to pick. I don't know.
It's easy, Alex. You pick one team from the East and one team from the West. Or do this. Pick 2 teams from the West so that you can increase your chances of being half right.
Well, we got 8 and 8. I could just say 8 teams from each one. Out of the West, you know, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm gonna say Clippers and I'm gonna say the Clippers and the Celtics.
Oh, that's good. I like that one.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
I have no confidence in it.
I'm torn between the Clippers and the Rockets. But I think the Sixers are going to come out of the East.
Okay.
So let's say Sixers and Rockets. And maybe we can get Jay to come down here for a game.
Wow. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be a fun series.
I'm trying to get tickets for the Nets and the Rockets right now, and I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to,
The tickets are the Rockets are an expensive ticket.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And man, I'm like, okay, well, they don't play until the 28th of December, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna wait a little bit, but shit.
As soon as the Rockets start losing,
I'm gonna cave in. Eventually, I'm gonna cave in, but
you're gonna pay what, $1.50?
not where I want to. Not where I don't want to sit up there. I mean, if I'm gonna I'm not gonna sit up there. I'm gonna sit, close. I want to.
That's gonna set you back what, 3?
Yeah, 4 almost.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably 4.
Yeah.
Whew.
I mean, I want to smell the sweat off of Kyrie. I want to ask him, hey, what made you think the Earth is flat?
Let me ask you a question. If the Astros make it to the World Series, would you buy a ticket just to say you went to the World Series? Astros and Nationals. Not exactly.
No, not at all. No, I have no interest in...
Just to say you went to the World Series.
No. When I go to the World Series, I want it to be to watch my team, and I will definitely spend a pretty penny on that if I have to.
Mets and Astros.
Oh yeah.
How much would you spend for a ticket to watch the Mets and the Astros?
I hope my wife is not listening. But
I would sell her car.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. I got you. I got an uncle. I got a mom and dad. A couple friends that I think I can count on. If I get you guys to let me borrow $500 each, I mean,
there you go.
I can make a couple of games.
Yeah, $2,500. I mean, sure, a kid can't go with me, but
no,
I think if the Astros go to the World Series, I think I'm gonna go.
Really?
Yeah, just to say I went to the World Series, because I don't know when I'm gonna get the chance.
No, yeah,
It's happening right here in my city. I don't have to travel.
Yeah, but if I spend that type of money, I want it to be, I want to get something out of it at the end, and I don't know that the experience is
worth it.
Yeah, especially if it doesn't have that, it's not gonna have that same feel as if it was your team. You're just gonna be like, hey, yeah, I mean,
I went to the World
you
Series.
can frame the ticket and say you went to it. I think it would carry more if you were able to see your own team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that is a wrap. You got anything else for our NBA preview?
That's
anything
it,
else you want to talk about?
Ready for NBA.
Ready? This is going to be the most interesting season we've had in quite a long time. It's not the usual suspects at the top. It's the usual people at the top.
Right.
But in different jerseys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It'll be the superstars will be the superstars. LeBron, Kawhi, Giannis.
Yes. Yeah.
But they're all on different teams. Kyrie Irving. But they're all on different teams. So we'll have different teams at the top. So it should make it very, very interesting. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to reach out to the show, you can email the show, positivesports10@gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of this guy and share your thoughts with him about the Nets and all the crazy stuff they're doing, you can do so via Twitter at BrooklynGaucho1. If you want to agree with me and tell me how great my Sixers-Rockets prediction is for the NBA Finals this year, you can reach me on Twitter as well, at eMontana21. With that, we've come to the end of our NBA preview episode, whatever.
That'd be something if the Warriors in Brooklyn make the finals, right?
Well, yeah,
Think about all the storylines you have there. D'Angelo Russell, Kevin Durant.
Yeah?
We're wearing their jerseys.
We're wearing the jerseys.
I mean, fuck. We may just have predicted the finals and we didn't even know.
That's right. I want to change my prediction. Warriors Nets in the NBA Finals. How freaking cool would that be?
That would be pretty crazy.
That would be
and
awesome.
Ironic.
I would love that. I would.
Why not?
I'd be rooting for the Warriors hard.
Hell no.
Well, of course not. You've got the jersey on. You'll be rooting for the Nets.
That's right.
Alrighty, folks. As always, thank you very much for your time and patronage. Patronage makes it sound like they pay,
No.
which they don't. Anyway,
But
listen
you
to the
could.
show. Watch it on YouTube. Listen to it on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, whatever podcast platform you choose. And as always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.